This is awkward. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. This is my first ever YouTube video. Round of applause for finally taking the courage to do this. My 12-year-old self would be so ecstatic right now. That was a big word. I like it. So today we're going to be doing my December wrap up of everything that I read in the month of December. Now, I am not a fast reader, so I got to 6 books this month, which is very impressive. I read 2 on audiobook and the rest were ebook / physical, like going back and forth. I started off the month with Kristen Hanna's The Great Alone. This is pretty much just set in like 1970s of this family who moves to Alaska. It's just about their hardships and what they go through living in Alaska and what it really takes to live in Alaska. But I felt like it was too long. Like, I understand why. Like, by the end I was sobbing. I was crying hysterically. However, well, not hysterically. Let me take that back. I was crying by the end. I did like what I was reading, just in the middle. Like, I felt like it was being dragged on. I'm a very mood-esque reader, and it took me forcing myself to continue this book. Was I mad? Towards like this part of the book, the main character, I was so like pissed off at that point because she was just making every wrong decision you can possibly think about. I was screaming in my head, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and she was like, I'm gonna do that. Oh, it infuriated me. I rated this a 3.5. The next book that I read for the month was Lights Out, and I listened to this, and y'all, the audio for this book is Josh is my new obsession. He is top tier boyfriend. He is the most golden retriever man I have ever read about. Like, it blows my mind how just hilarious. He's freaking funny. This book was hilarious. I love this. I need more books like this in my life. More like dark rom-com books. I don't know when that started becoming a genre, but I love it, and I ate this up like nobody's business. So this is about a nurse. Her name is Allie. She follows this page on TikTok, like I'm sure a lot of us do. No one's judging. I do too. Where there's this man in a mask who makes provocative videos. We've seen them. We know what they're about. And that just happens to come true for her. And it just continues on that way. This was, like I said, hilarious, entertaining. Like, I could not put this book down. This was entertaining, hilarious, like kicking my feet, giggling in the middle of the night. Josh is my man. I don't want to hear about it. Josh is my man. That's all you need to know. Go read this, run. Because this was, I don't know why it took me so long. I had this on my TBR for a good, I want to say like 4 or 5 months before I actually picked this up. I gave this a 4.75 because, maybe I should give it a 5. No, I'm going to stick with the 4.75. But this was very, very good read. After Lights Out, I read The One by John Mars. This was my book club's monthly read. This is about 5 people's lives, and in this like dystopian, it's not dystopian, but it's like our world, but they have invented ancestry DNA. They invented one where you send in your DNA and it matches you up with the love of your life, like your match, who you're compatible with and who you should be with. It goes down this road of following, I believe it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 or 6 people, their lives within this, and they all decide to take this DNA test to find out who their love of their lives is. I guess it keeps you guessing at the end, because you don't really ever get like a definitive answer of like what continues to happen. It's kind of like plays by your imagination. At the beginning, it did struggle a little bit because there's just so many point of views like thrown in at once. Like it's one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then starts again 1, 2, 3, 4 with people's point of views. I did definitely hear from my book club, and some of them did read them on audio, and they still liked it, but I feel like it was harder for them to grasp when it was on audio, and I think it was easier for me. I think by the second or third round of going through each person, I kind of caught on to what was going on and who was who. So I would definitely recommend actually picking the paper back up instead of doing the audio. But this was thrilling. Like first of all, I'm a sucker for small chapters. I love me a good small chapter. I want to be able to read a page and can put a pin on it. The chapters are super, super small, and at the end of every chapter, it leaves you on a cliffhanger. The end of everything was just like, ugh, and you want to just keep reading. This was a super quick and fun read. It just left you on the edge of your seat. I mean, there was stories that I liked more and stories that I didn't like as much, but super duper recommend. I gave this a 3.5. Then I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. When I tell you guys, this was so unexpected. So I got this for my birthday from my husband, and that man knows how to pick them. That man, it seems like every time I tell him, just pick a book off my shelf because I don't know what to read, every time it's a good one. I don't know what is going on with him, but every time he picks a book, it's chef's kiss, amazing. I read this book, totally caught off guard. This is the other one that I read on audiobook. Immerse read it, like I was reading it and listening to it, and this caught me so off guard. This is about obviously a woman who has been married 7 times, and she is a well-known Hollywood actress. Think like Marilyn Monroe back in those times. In those times? I don't really... Is it the 80s? Okay, the 50s to the 80s. So she started becoming famous in the 50s. This caught me off guard. This was nothing of what I thought it was going to be like, and I ate it up. I recommend the audio like there's tomorrow. I think if I would have read this, it wouldn't have got me as much as the audio did. This book, like I said, all I've heard from TikTok, like I went into this fairly blind. All I heard on TikTok was this woman who was a Hollywood star who had 7 husbands. That's all I knew about it. I don't know why it took me so long to read this. This was so good. I gave this 4.75 stars. This was so good. So good. It was so, like, it caught me from the beginning. Like, I did not want to put this book down for the life of me. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I loved every minute of it. And I can say this is one, like Lights Out, that I have just thought about for the entire month. Like, I have not stopped thinking about it and raving about this book because it was amazing. And thank you to my husband who got me the special edition instead of getting me the, look at that, beautiful, instead of giving me like the regular copy. I see what the hype is about, and honestly, they're right. They're right about it. I read Heir of Fire. So I am slowly making my way down into finishing this series. Let's take a moment because let's talk about this. With Throne of Glass, I started with Assassin's Blade, right? Did I enjoy it a little bit? Was it like the best read? No, I wasn't hooked instantly. Then I read Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass got so much better, and I just loved every minute of that. I was really having fun with Throne of Glass. Then I read Midnight. Crown of Midnight was a little bit slower paced, but the end really got me. Like, towards the end, like the beginning of the book, I always struggle with the beginning of the book, and then towards the end, I'm better. But they were all like 3-ish stars, close to 4. Nothing majorly. When I got to Heir of Fire, like I was very excited to start Heir of Fire because of how Crown of Midnight ended. It was so slow at first. When I tell you guys, I soft DNF'd this since August. I put this book down in August, and I didn't come to pick it up again until December. I left off like at chapter 18. It was so slow at first. So slow. I don't know what it was, or maybe I was just not in the mood because I just wasn't getting into it. So I put it down. Then Larry Reed's on here, the love of my life. let me take that back because that sounds kind of stalkerish. She was reading for the first time and it kind of got me in the mood to pick it up again. So you guys, once I picked this back up with the intention like of reading it, with the mood of reading it, I did also immersive read it for when I picked it up again. I read it on audio and I think that helped. But once I got to part 2, you guys, I was invested like there was no tomorrow. I could not put this book down. And it makes me so sad that I waited literally August 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 months to pick this back up. I gave this a 3.75. I'm telling you, the beginning was dragging, but it's worth it to get to the second part. And then after this, my last book of the month, I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. When I tell you guys, okay, so like I explained with Air Fire, like I didn't really get the hype about these books, right? Like I liked what I was reading, but I wasn't like invested. Like I didn't, my heart wasn't all in it. Like everybody's like sobbing and crying and tattoos, getting tattoos of them and making what are those called, fan edits. Like everybody's like throwing up, kicking, screaming, dying for these books, and I didn't get that hype. I was like, I'm like, there's something not right in here because I'm not finding it as entertaining as everybody else. I'm not having those connections until I started Queen of Shadows. When I tell you guys, this book, I could not put this down. I could not put this down for the life of me. This sucked me in. This made me feel, I cried like 2 times in this. 2 times. And like, I'm a crybaby, like, so that probably doesn't mean much. But this was so good. I think this is the first time where I really grasped the characters and actually found love for everybody in here except Kale, because I hate that motherfucker right at this moment. I could eat my words next month. But I finally got the hype. I finally was like, oh wow. And then I started thinking, oh wow, I only have 3 books left. And technically 2 because the tandem reads next. So now I'm kind of going down this dark spiral. But that's okay. We're okay. We're gonna be okay. So I gave this a 5 stars. This was the first 5-star read of Throne of Glass. And I'm so glad we got to this point. But now I'm like in an existential crisis because this is gonna end very soon. And now I'm like procrastinating it. Now I'm trying to pull back. Now I'm trying not to read those books just yet, which is, I'm sure, very frustrating. It is very frustrating to myself. Yeah, so that was my reading month. That was my December reading month. I hope you guys enjoy and stick around. I will be, I guess, staying here a while. What to say? Bye.